2025 will go down the history as a year where we have, as a business, demonstrated our resilience and our commitment to recovery, and in the process positioned ourselves to be on a path that will really deliver profitability going forth. And I'll talk to you about what we need to do, what we need to maintain, very consistent with some of the principles that the Minister asked us to look at. But if you think about where we are today and you cast your eyes back to April 2024, we have now gone for 548 days, 531 of those consistently without load shedding, 96-97% kind of availability from a no load shedding perspective, contrasting that with a 9% in terms of the year prior to that. So quite a significant shift, all at the back of the implementation of our generation recovery plan. We have had some good progress in terms of our transmission line construction. The NTCSA has really performed well in getting up from what was a very low base prior to that, as they build up all their processes and ready themselves for the ramp up that's required to build the 14,000 kilometers. And we are very comfortable that with what they're doing, they'll be able to start hitting those numbers next year, alongside with capacity that will come in, execution capacity that will come in from the ITPs. We've been able to experience very stable performance of our distribution network. At the same time, some sad and unfortunate events that have compromised our transmission network from a reliability point of view. But what we have learned out of that is that in the same way as we have a systematic way of handling our generation assets performance, we can do the same with the transmission network, and the teams are really focusing on that. Safety is very important for us. Our performance from an LTIR perspective is within range in terms of our expectation. Sadly, we have lost 3 colleagues in the process of executing our last year's mandate. And just last week, we had a work stoppage to reflect as a business in totality, to recommit ourselves to ensuring that we can take everyone back home safely after every shift. The EAF in the year under review had risen to just under 61%. When you contrast that with 55% in the previous year, we are able to successfully recode 5.6 million of our prepaid meters as we advanced with the KRN2 rollout. You all remember the campaign at the end of November in 2024, and we installed 800,000 new smart meters. Smart meters enable us to engage with our customers at a personalized level. When the full functionality is deployed, they also will allow us to deal with the aspect of electricity theft, at the same time alleviate the scourge that is now on our radar of load reduction. Our environmental performance improved year on year. It is not where we want it to be, and this year we are doubling up in terms of our focus on this. As we do maintenance, our fleet performs better, and it will stay within the compliant regime of our license conditions. It's now history. We have added Kusile Unit 5 to commercial operation in the year under review, and you saw a picture at the beginning of our presentation just yesterday. Kusile Unit 6 reached its commercial operation, marking the end of the build program for our supercritical coal stations. So that program is now complete. We have bolstered the capacity of the country from a baseload perspective significantly. This will remain the mainstay of our energy security going forward for many years to come. We continue to undertake actions that also bring inclusivity in as far as electrification is concerned. 83,000 new connections of electricity were implemented in the year under review as we march towards our goal of universal access. And in the midst of all of this, the internal restructuring continued with NTCSA operationalized from the 1st of July. We do have some headwinds. One of those notably is the issue of electricity theft, 15 terawatt hours of that, and this is now one of our biggest focal points to protect our revenue and regularize some of the illegal connections. In the midst of all of this, we were able to come out with a 16 billion rand profit after tax compared to the previous years of 55 billion rand losses. This performance is driven by significant savings in our primary energy costs, and Caleb will expand on that, by the increase of some 3.5% in our sales because of our generation performance, and also the fact that our generation primary mix is much more favorable than generating power from expensive diesel machines. So, and of course, there is also the tariff, the tariff increase that kicked in that space. We are very comfortable that if we maintain performance at the level of the EAF that we are seeing now going forward, we should be able to alter the structure of our P&L and be in a safe zone going forth. I asked that we show this slide again, and I'm glad that we have members of the media who comment on this quite frequently. The performance of our fleet and the recovery of our capacity, as evidenced by the 6 gigawatts that comes from the reduction in unplanned losses, is primarily at the core of the performance of Eskom as a whole, and the country is shying away from load shedding. It is important that the base load infrastructure of the country is available to mitigate the supply-demand gaps that we experienced in the previous years. We have repeatedly shown this data. We have shown the other graph that is indicative of the decline in the diesel costs and the decline in diesel usage. That also shows that in the year under review, when we had no load shedding to the extent that we had last year, we've actually also had an increase of 6% in energy sent out. So all the matrices are pointing to a positivity that comes out of the implementation of our generation recovery plan. We continue along this path. Our focus is to deal with unreliability by focusing on elimination of trips. We have said last year that when we encountered the headwinds of the load shedding at the beginning of this year, that it was very clear we needed to approach our planning and execution of outages slightly different. And we have now set ourselves to do exactly that in this coming summer. We have now signed off on Kusile Unit 6. We have brought back Unit 4 of Midupi. We have essentially brought back Unit 2 after the life extension of Kubek. We anticipate to get Kubek life extension license at the beginning of November. We are comfortable that we have done all that is required in that aspect. And we'll continue to do midlife refurbishment to improve on our emissions performance at the various coal stations. We can never invest enough in our people, in our processes, and in ensuring that we get the right mindset to sustain the performance that we have seen. So generation recovery plan, the results needs to be embedded and sustained for us to be able to build on top of this from a country perspective. It is quite pleasing to see results of many of our customers whose trust in us is beginning to return. We take the South African trust very seriously. It is a privilege and a responsibility for us. When we do what we do correctly, it translates to improved financial results for our customers, it translates to increased business confidence, and it also translates to growth in the economy for South Africa. The prospects of the country from an investment perspective improves. And we know this because the sovereign credit ratings feedback does indicate that. Our own feedback when we engage with credit rating agencies also points to that fact. It is this that makes us wake up every morning and drive for performance that you are seeing, and that drives the 42,000 guardians daily. Going forward, our business is still focused on our endpoint, which is essentially an Eskom that will operate in the future with its full subsidiaries. NTCSA, as I've said, is unbundled and legally separated. The distribution business is what we are working on now. The generation business will be next, and we've already started moves around Eskom Green, which will be the focal point of our renewables business at a scale much more larger than what we are used to, because we have the capacity, we have the people, we have the know-how, we have the assets in terms of the land adjacent to existing power stations where grid access is not very complex. And grid access, that will be on fair basis like everybody else, given the liberalization of the market that we are entering into. So we support NTCSA to drive the mandate that they have of rollout of the TDP, establishment of the market operator. And within the distribution business, we have already seen some of our announcements with regards to new areas of focus. Smart meters acceleration is something that we have now allocated capital towards, and we'll also have a much more increased presence in the EV infrastructure space. This is an area of opportunities that we are able to take.
We come out of that briefing. On your screen right now is the CEO of Eskom, Den Marukane. He was just announcing that the utility has been doing better, even announcing a 16 billion rand profit after tax, and that the energy availability factor, the EAF, has improved during the period under review from 50 to 60% and has been quite stable. You'll remember that earlier in the week they also announced that they will be scrapping that load reduction with a focus of having that done by 2027 or from a year perspective to 5 years, and that they will be introducing smart meters. That has also come through there. And but they do say that electricity theft still remains a challenge for the utility, and that they're still working on that. They spoke about how Kusile Unit 6 is now complete, and they expect that with that particular power generation that station, that things will be much more better. As you know that load shedding, we haven't had load shedding for a while now. He emphasizes that energy security plays a big role, and that they've been able to achieve that in the time under review, and that this is encouraging for economic growth, and that especially for businesses that rely on energy security.